In the beginning, there was Adam, the first man created by God, placed in the Garden of Eden to live in harmony with nature. But was Eve truly his first companion, or is there more to the story than we have been told? Ancient texts and forgotten lore whisper of another, a woman named Lilith, who came before Eve. She emerges from the shadows of mythology, her story a rich tapestry woven from Sumerian, Akkadian, and Babylonian folklore. Imagine a time before monotheism, a world teeming with gods and goddesses where every element of nature had its own deity. Lilith emerges from this ancient world, a being of the night, a creature of the wind, embodying the untamed forces of nature. Some stories portray Lilith as a demon, a succubus preying on men, a figure of fear and seduction. Others cast her as a powerful goddess, a protector of women and children, a symbol of feminine strength and independence. In these early tales, we see glimpses of a complex figure, a woman who defies easy categorization, embodying both light and dark aspects. She is both alluring and dangerous, independent and rebellious, challenging the norms of her time. One thing is certain, Lilith's story is deeply intertwined with the story of creation itself, a narrative that predates the familiar tale of Adam and Eve. She represents a primal force, a wildness that existed before the Garden of Eden, before the rules were written, a symbol of untamed freedom. And her story, though often overlooked, has much to teach us about the nature of humanity, the duality of good and evil, and the power of forbidden knowledge, urging us to look beyond the surface of ancient myths. Most modern Bibles make no mention of Lilith, a figure shrouded in mystery and controversy. Her story, once whispered around campfires and inscribed on ancient tablets, has been largely omitted from the canonical texts, leaving many to wonder about her true significance. Why? The reasons are complex, rooted in centuries of religious and cultural shifts that have shaped our understanding of sacred texts. Some scholars believe Lilith's exclusion was a deliberate act of censorship, a way to suppress a narrative that challenged traditional views of women and their place in the world, a narrative that was seen as too radical for its time. Lilith, with her fierce independence and refusal to submit to Adam, represented a threat to the patriarchal structures that were taking hold, structures that sought to define and limit the roles of women. Others argue that Lilith's absence is simply a reflection of the evolution of religious texts, as they were edited and reinterpreted over time. As stories were passed down orally and later transcribed, certain details were inevitably lost or altered, leading to the erasure of some figures from the collective memory. It's possible that Lilith's story, deemed less important or perhaps too controversial, simply fell through the cracks of history, overshadowed by more dominant narratives. Whatever the reason, Lilith's absence from mainstream religious texts is undeniable, a gap that continues to intrigue and inspire, yet her story persists, passed down through alternative traditions, mystical interpretations, and whispers of forgotten lore, ensuring that Lilith's legacy endures despite her exclusion. Despite her exclusion from the Bible, Lilith's presence is felt throughout various religious and literary works, spanning centuries and cultures. In Jewish folklore, she appears in the alphabet of Ben Sira, a medieval text that portrays her as Adam's first wife who, refusing to be subservient, flees the garden and becomes a demonic figure. This narrative highlights her defiance and independence, traits that have fascinated and terrified people for generations. This text paints Lilith as a creature of the night, associated with owls and other nocturnal animals. Her connection to the night symbolizes mystery, danger, and the unknown. However, Lilith's portrayal is not always negative. In some Kabbalistic texts, she is seen as a powerful feminine force, representing the Shekinah, the feminine aspect of God. This duality in her character shows the complexity of her myth. She is also linked to wisdom, sexuality, and the mysteries of creation. These attributes make her a multifaceted figure, embodying both the sacred and the profane. Beyond religious texts, Lilith appears in literature and art, often as a symbol of female empowerment and rebellion. Her image has evolved over time, reflecting changing societal attitudes towards women and power. From Dante's Inferno to Goethe's Faust, she embodies the allure of the forbidden and the consequences of defying societal norms. Her story continues to captivate and inspire, serving as a reminder of the enduring power of myth. The comparison between Lilith and Eve is unavoidable. Both are tied to Adam, both reside in the garden, and both play a role in humanity's fall from grace. Yet their stories and the way they are portrayed offer stark contrasts. Eve, created from Adam's rib, is often depicted as submissive and obedient. She embodies the ideal of womanhood as defined by patriarchal societies, gentle, nurturing, and subservient to man. Lilith, on the other hand, represents the antithesis of this ideal. She is independent, assertive, and unwilling to accept a secondary role. Some scholars see Lilith and Eve as two sides of the same coin, representing the duality of femininity. They argue that both figures are necessary to understand the complexities of female identity, the tension between societal expectations and innate desires.